A regular guy makes a living delivering packages around residential areas. Yet somehow, he wins the heart of a famous, wealthy actress. Their brief fling results in her getting pregnant after just one night. Despite achieving what others dream of, he feels no joy. Instead, everything seems like a tangled burden on his life. Because he's actually the hidden heir of a major corporation, working as a delivery man for fun. Classic rich guy pretending to be poor plot, nailed perfectly. But trouble starts when the actress, drunk, walks into his room by mistake. Still, he faces the aftermath like a true man, not running away. Yet his future mother-in-law insults him harshly for his shabby looks. The actress is even forced to marry a notorious playboy from a rich family. From then, he begins his quest to reclaim his girl from the powerful elite. While driving, his phone suddenly rings, shattering the calm. Annoyed, he still checks to see who's calling. The moment he answers, a woman says she's pregnant with his child and needs to meet. Thinking it's a scam, he hangs up, but her urgency makes him uneasy and angry. That frustration drives him to speed like a madman. His masterful driving terrifies everyone on the road. Soon after, he brakes hard near the delivery shop upon hearing gossip about a rich heiress. His roaring motorbike finally comes to a halt. Seeing the crowd, he frowns and asks what's happening. Someone explains that Miss Two of the family is marrying the richest man's son in Jiangning, but that's none of his concern as a lowly courier. His indifference only fuels curiosity about why such a beauty would marry an ugly scumbag. But a photo on a phone makes him realize the bride is the same girl from that fateful night. In shock, Wang Han grabs the phone without thinking. His odd move makes Ban Zi suspicious, but Wang Han is lost in memories of that night. He starts doubting if the call was real and if the caller was truly that girl. A month earlier, Toki staggered down a dark hallway, wondering why she got drunk so easily. Feeling dizzy, she suspected her drink might have been spiked. Half-conscious, she rejoiced at finding the familiar room 809. Seeing the door open, she wondered if she'd forgotten to lock it. Inside, Wang Han was drinking away his anger and frustration. Muttering bitterly, he felt wrongly accused just for being a delivery guy. Suddenly, a strange girl collapsed beside him, stunning him completely. The smell of alcohol from her mouth carried faint pleas for help. Her stunning beauty made Wang Han blush uncontrollably. When she leaned closer, he froze confused and breathless. That night, things got so intense the small room never had a quiet moment. Back in the present, Ban Zi stared blankly at Wang Han, who looked like a statue. Unable to resist, he teased him for making up another story about chasing a celebrity. Zi joins in, mocking Wang Han's wild bragging stories, making everyone burst out laughing. Ignoring the teasing, he calmly lights a cigarette, calling himself a hermit in the city. No one buys it. His friends laugh harder and add even wilder jokes. Before they can disperse, a shiny red supercar suddenly blocks their way. None of them can hide their awe at such a luxurious ride. The car's arrival instantly stirs up the whole street. As the door opens, a woman steps out as if escaping suffocation. Tuchi steps down hesitantly, burdened by an unspoken unease. Her beautiful face is icy, completely void of joy. Her elegant aura leaves the delivery guys gawking in open admiration. As she passes by, Ban Zi feels a strange sense of familiarity. Checking the photo on their phone, they realize it's none other than Miss Tuchi, the famous heiress. To clear all doubt, Tuchi confronts Wang Han directly, scolding him for ignoring her calls. Her words leave his friends utterly stunned. Unbothered, Wang Han calmly asks why she's looking for him. Tuchi bluntly declares she's pregnant with his child. The crowd freezes, thunderstruck by her statement. Yet Wang Han refuses to believe it, thinking she's mistaken him for someone else. Understanding his doubt, she sighs softly and suggests they go to the hospital together. Before he can refuse, his co-workers shove him toward her car. Overwhelmed, he takes a quick leave from work and follows fate's pull. As soon as he's seated, Tuchi floors the gas, speeding them away. In the car, still dazed, he asks her again to confirm what's going on. Her calmness leaves no room for doubt, and he starts considering his duty as a father. His serious tone momentarily startles Tuchi. But instead of being moved, she laughs mockingly, doubting his worth. Wang Han stays cool, saying every honest job deserves respect. In moments, their talk deepens into issues of class and identity. His carefree attitude enrages Tuchi, who slams the brakes in frustration. His head smacks the windshield painfully. Holding his forehead, he snaps back at her arrogance and the family's pride. She says nothing, just coldly signals him to get out, ending the talk abruptly. As he steps out, he catches the sorrow hidden in her eyes. Before he can speak, Tuchi warns that if her family finds out, he'll face dire consequences. Her grim words ignite his temper. He shouts that if the child is his, he'll take full responsibility. Despite his outburst, Tuchi remains calm and tells him to follow her inside. The antiseptic smell in the hallway makes her dizzy, so she tells him to wait outside. When he sees her walk into a room labeled surgery, Wang Han's face turns pale in panic. Without further explanation, she coldly says she'll be inside for a while. Realizing what she intends, he snaps, his voice trembling with anger. His body surges forward while his mind refuses to accept what's about to happen. Though Tuchi coldly claims he can't afford to care for her and the baby, he insists he'll handle the money himself. As tension peaks, a nurse calls her name for the procedure, freezing him in place. Tuchi gives him one last look, softly replies, then quietly walks inside. Watching her leave without hesitation chokes him up. He can barely utter a sound. His head spins as the door closes, wondering if he's powerless to stop her. On the icy operating table, the doctor's question makes Tuchi tremble with nerves. Her face is clouded with gloom, eyes brimming with disappointment. Seeing her distress, the doctor gently reassures her like always. Overwhelmed, she shuts her eyes tightly to steady herself. Just before the needle touches, she suddenly raises her hand, signaling to stop. Outside, Wang Han sits staring at the ceiling, helpless if she truly decides to end it. Then, to his shock, she walks out calmly as if nothing happened. His face shows utter disbelief. He can't process what just occurred. He rushes over, bombarding her with questions about how it ended so fast. Tuchi doesn't bother explaining, simply says she's tired and asks if he can drive. Sensing her change, he grins confidently, bragging he could even fly a plane. The car glides away like the wind, both silent the whole ride. They arrive at Long Lone District B, where the car halts, ending a tense journey. Seeing her asleep, Wang Han quietly answers his phone to avoid waking her. The caller reminds him of an urgent bidding meeting at Jianyi Tower, but he coolly replies got it, even after hearing the trade chairman is on his side. When the car stops, Wang Han gently wakes Tuchi, saying they've reached Long Lone, 19th floor. Seeing her exhausted face, he unconsciously frowns too. As soon as she steps out, Tuchi urges him to leave before her family arrives. Unwilling to abandon her while she's weak, he offers to walk her to the door. Drained from the chaotic day, she refuses, telling him not to meddle further. But as she turns away, she suddenly slips and falls to the ground. The thud startles Wang Han into panic. Without hesitation, he dashes over to catch her. He grabs her just in time, preventing a hard fall. Afterward, he scolds her for being clumsy, prompting Tuchi to snap and demand he repeat that. Losing her temper, she pinches his arm hard in retaliation. The sharp pain makes him yelp loudly. Not wanting to argue at her doorstep, he decisively lifts her up. He carries her bridal style like a scene straight out of a romance movie. Familiar with the house layout, he hurries inside while muttering playful complaints. Inside stands a stunning villa blending classic and modern design that leaves him awestruck. Still, his concern stays fixed on her injured leg rather than the luxury. Hormonal swings make her tear up, saying she doesn't need help. His voice softens instantly. Just then, the main door bursts open, filling the room with tension. Tuchi looks up, her heart nearly jumping out of her chest. Huimin enters with Xuefu, both frozen in shock at the scene. Wang Han tries to explain, but Tuchi quickly blurts that she twisted her ankle. Summoning courage, she claims her boyfriend came to bring her medicine. Her words leave Wang Han completely dumbfounded. Huimin and Xuefu gasp in disbelief. A mere courier as Miss To's boyfriend? Impossible. Furious, Huimin points at Wang Han and scolds him viciously. Tuchi lowers her head in silence, sadness clouding her face. She hastily adds it was just a joke, saying he only drove her home. Huimin's tone shifts to worry as she reminds Tuchi about the Tan family marriage. That's when Wang Han coldly retorts, so what if I'm a delivery guy? His reply enrages Huimin, who calls him a low-class dreamer. Deeply insulted, he clenches his fists, veins bulging with anger. Thankfully, Tuchi cuts in quickly, urging him to leave to ease the tension. Xuefu quietly watches him go, suspicion flickering in her eyes. Huimin covers her nose disdainfully, ordering Xuefu to escort Tuchi upstairs and have the floor cleaned where Wang Han stood. Xuefu simply replies curtly and turns to obey. In the room, curiosity gets the better of her. She asks Tuchi about her relationship with Wang Han, but receives only cold indifference. Unconvinced, Xuefu sternly says Tuchi's gaze at him was too real to fake. Finally, Tuchi holds her belly and admits she's pregnant with his child. The confession leaves Xuefu utterly stunned. She collapses to her knees, unable to accept that Ada Aris got involved with a delivery man over a drunken night. Composing herself, she seriously asks how Tuchi plans to handle this, especially with the Tan engagement unresolved. When Tuchi calmly says she'll keep the baby, Xuefu screams in shock. But Tuchi remains steady, saying Wang Han promised to take responsibility. Angry, Xuefu drags her back to reality. She's a socialite, and he's at the bottom rung. Unwilling to argue, Tuchi brushes her off and asks why Xuefu suddenly returned. Xuefu answers she came with her grandfather to Jiangning to meet someone important and attend an auction. Suddenly, a sly idea lights up her face. Grinning mischievously, she says she's got a plan, piquing Tuchi's curiosity. She whispers that if they're ever found out, Tuchi should just claim the courier forced her. Both nod in agreement. Meanwhile, Wang Han wanders the streets after leaving the Tu mansion. Finding no taxis, he pulls out his phone, only to see there's no signal. At that moment, a sleek black car stops right in front of him. He eyes it warily. A man steps out from the vehicle. It's an elderly gentleman with silver hair, bowing respectfully. Lin Xingyun, chairman of the Jiulong Trade Association. Calmly, he announces he's been sent to escort Wang Han to tonight's auction. Wang Han strokes his chin, recalling that his grandfather did mention it. Before boarding, he asks for a bath and a change of clothes. Lin Xingyun immediately arranges it. The two leave the villa district in silence, heading toward the grand event ahead. At the auction hall, the crowd buzzes with excitement as everyone gathers. Wang Han enters in a sharp suit, eyes coldly scanning the packed room. Xuefu spots him unexpectedly and shouts his name. She rushes over, demanding why a Toza delivery guy is here. As he tries to explain, she cuts him off mockingly. What, doing side gigs now? Wang Han immediately denies it flatly. Still, Xuefu grabs his arm, dragging him away before he can protest. She walks briskly, saying she has something important to tell him. In a quiet corner, she warns that if he abandons Tuchi and the baby, she won't forgive him. Wang Han's eyes widen. He thought the baby was gone. Xuefu snaps back that Tuchi kept it, shocking him to the core. His mind spins. Was yesterday's surgery just an act? Xuefu presses her threat again, voice heavy with menace. To vent her anger, she stomps hard on his foot. He yells in pain from the brutal stomp. Just then, the host's voice booms. The auction is now open. But Wang Han can't focus, his thoughts stuck on Tuchi and the child. A girl with glasses approaches politely to greet him. She introduces herself as Lu Yu, personal assistant assigned by Chairman Lin to assist him. Wang Han nods approvingly and tells her to accompany him inside. But before they move, a loud noise stuns them both. Three men enter through the main doors, the one in the middle declaring the land on auction is the Tan family's target. Stroking his beard, he laughs arrogantly, asking everyone to show some respect. It's none other than Tan Lei, the Tan family's young master, dripping with arrogance. Wang Han doesn't recognize him, but Lu Yu quickly explains he's a powerful rival from Jiangning. Even after hearing that, Wang Han scoffs. Tan Lei isn't worthy to compete with him. Lu Yu calmly adds that the Tan clan plans to partner with Toza to seize the project. She adds mockingly that Tan Lei is both ugly and depraved, a tragedy for Tuchi, who's engaged to him. Realization hits Wang Han. This is Tuchi's so-called fiancé. The auction begins with lot number 053, a strategic plot desired by many corporations. Tan Lei starts strong, bidding 500 million outright. The crowd gasps, assuming the Tan family will win thanks to their Toza ties. Suddenly, Wang Han raises his paddle, offering 100 million more. All eyes turn to the stranger daring to challenge the Tan family, clearly not local. The audience murmurs that he's courting disaster by defying them. Tan Lei, fuming, slams his fist on his leg in frustration. Grinding his teeth, he curses that Wang Han is picking a fight on purpose. Wang Han coldly replies that in auctions, the highest bidder wins, simple as that. Tan Lei growls that this project belongs to the Tan family from the start. Wang Han just shrugs indifferently, brushing it off. The crowd is stunned. No one's ever defied the Tan family so openly. Tan Lei, enraged, raises the bid to 700 million with a furious shout. Wang Han casually raises it to 800 million without hesitation. Tan Lei loses control, storming forward and declaring the Tan family rules Jiangning. He grabs Wang Han's collar, threatening him to his face. Tan Lei raises to 900 million, sneering that if Wang Han dares, he should keep bidding. Wang Han smirks, eyes gleaming with defiance. Calmly, he bids 1 billion flat. Tan Lei explodes, shouting hell, make Wang Han pay dearly tonight. But before he can act, Wang Han lands a crushing punch straight to his face. The blow sends Tan Lei flying backward hard. Seeing him fall, his goons charge at Wang Han. Thinking fast, Wang Han grabs a chair and fights back fiercely. One thug freezes mid-charge in sheer terror. Wang Han instantly kicks him square in the face without mercy. Tan Lei clutches his swollen face, screaming in rage. Wang Han coldly smiles, saying his punch was a gift from Grandpa. Then he delivers another kick, knocking out another lackey. A loud crash echoes as the man slams into the floor. Tan Lei ends up crushed under his own henchman's weight. Wang Han glares around and asks if anyone else wants to try. One terrified man stammers that no one dares. Wang Han leaves briskly, telling Lu Yu to finish the deal. She nods calmly. Meanwhile, Xuefu meets privately with Cheng Yun, wearing a graceful white dress. She complains about being summoned and missing the auction. Qingyan sternly warns her to mind her words before the guest arrives. Xuefu, curious, wonders why her grandfather is suddenly so cautious. A subordinate reports the auction's over and the Tan family lost. Qingyan remains unfazed. Xuefu, however, is shocked someone dared outbid the Tan clan. Qingyan reveals the winner is the very person they're waiting for. She politely excuses herself to call Nan Nan. While walking, she worries the Tan family's loss might strain ties with the clan. Lost in thought, she accidentally bumps into Wang Han. Irritated, she scolds him, not recognizing him, while Wang Han looks ready to snap back. Xuefu huffs coldly and walks off, continuing her phone call. As Wang Han enters, Qingyan instantly stands and greets him warmly. Wang Han confirms the deal's done, then asks about the girl he just met. Qingyan introduces her as his granddaughter. Lin Xuefu's single and quite fond of him. Wang Han shifts the topic to Tuchi. Qingyan explains she's a capable heiress ignored by her family for being female. He probes further about the young lady's personal life. Qingyan says she's discreet, raised strictly, and never dated. Hearing that, Wang Han grins slyly as if discovering an amusing secret. Just then, a call from Tuchi surprises him. She asks to meet, and he immediately agrees, asking where she is. Before leaving, Wang Han tells Qingyan to handle the follow-up. Qingyan mentions Xuefu's education, but Wang Han brushes it off casually. Tuchi sits alone in a park before a quiet lake. Despite the calm scene, her eyes carry heavy thoughts. Before long, Wang Han arrives. He pulls up on his motorcycle at their meeting spot. Slowly, he walks toward where she's sitting. Wang Han quietly takes a seat beside her. He comforts her, promising to care for both mother and child and marry her if needed. Tuchi chuckles softly, teasing if he's really up to that. Wang Han confidently says it's no big deal. She raises her watch, asking if he knows how much it costs. Wang Han glances once and accurately names the model and price. Tuchi grows serious, asking how long it'd take him to afford it with his current job. He reassures her that money's not an issue, even joking about childbirth. She immediately shoots him down. Just then, her phone rings unexpectedly. A friend hurriedly tells her to return home. Important guests are discussing her marriage, but she stays calm. She turns to ask if Wang Han can take her home. He agrees gladly. He quickly leads her to his bike and helps her on. Then he speeds off, determined to get her home fast. Along the way, Tuchi rests her head against his back, smiling faintly. She quietly cherishes the peaceful moment throughout the ride. At last, they arrive at her home. They step inside together as she greets her mother politely. Huimin yells furiously for her lateness. Tan Hao has been waiting. Tuchi calmly replies she was just out for a while. Huimin is shocked to see her daughter bring a stranger home during marriage talks. She quickly emphasizes that Tan Hao is here to discuss the wedding. Tan Hao, relaxed, crosses his legs and greets casually. Tuchi steps forward, requesting to postpone the marriage since the joint project isn't finalized. Tan Hao smirks, saying marriage first, business later. It's simple. His sleazy tone exposes his true nature as he hints at indecent acts first. When Tuchi refuses, Huimin pressures her, insisting the Tan family will save theirs if she marries. Tuchi boldly declares she will not marry. Her defiance stuns Tan Hao, while Huimin desperately tries to justify the arranged match. Tuchi takes Wang Han's hand and announces she's pregnant with his child and won't change her mind. Huimin is speechless, struck dumb by the revelation. She scolds her daughter in outrage for carrying a delivery man's baby, but Tuchi stands firm. Seeing her obstinance, Huimin raises her hand to strike her. But Wang Han swiftly catches her wrist. He glares fiercely, rejecting her contempt toward his profession. Wang Han accuses her of selling her daughter for gain, asking if she feels no shame. Huimin, furious, calls him filthy and orders him to let go. Tan Hao loses control too, spewing vile insults at Tuchi, calling her corrupt. Enraged, he swears revenge for being betrayed. Tuchi softly calls his name, voice filled with pain. Wang Han explodes with fury, shouting Tan Hao's name. He slaps him hard across the face. The blow sends Tan Hao staggering back into the wall. Wang Han pulls Tuchi into his arms, declaring she's his and no one may harm her. Tan Hao, shaking with rage, vows Wang Han will pay dearly. He grabs an ashtray, brandishing it like a weapon. Without hesitation, he lunges to attack Wang Han. Wang Han calmly tells Tuchi to step behind him. She obeys immediately. He effortlessly dodges the incoming strike. Casually, he threw another punch. The guy was slammed into the wall once again. Wang Han slid his hand into his pocket and strode over with dominating aura. He grabbed Qin Hao's collar with commanding strength, coldly warned that today he'd teach him a lifelong lesson. Then he began delivering a merciless beating. Every blow made Qin Hao scream in agony, begging for mercy. At that moment, Old Master Su appeared and ordered them to stop. He approached sternly, demanding who dared cause chaos in his house. Seeing her grandfather, Tuchi panicked and asked why he came. Old Master Su said nothing, walking straight to her and Wang Han. His face grim, he declared he'd heard everything. He barked, "Are you really pregnant with that delivery boy's child?" Tuchi timidly confirmed in a soft voice. The family panicked, thinking it was out of control and considered forcing an abortion. Qin Hao roared that even without the baby, she'd never marry into the Qin family. Jian Yi blamed Hui Min for spoiling their daughter and disgracing the family. Under the heavy accusations, Tuchi lowered her head in sorrow. She clenched her fists and shouted for everyone to shut up. Her voice trembled as she begged for the right to choose. Wang Han stepped up to support her, vowing to take her away. He carried her off amid Hui Min and Jian Yi's furious curses. Wang Han's gaze turned icy, mocking their so-called morality. He walked out proudly without a glance back, but someone suddenly appeared blocking his way. It was a person intent on stopping him. Wang Han glared, daring anyone who wanted to stop him to step forward. Jian Yi and Hui Min froze, unable to respond. Even Old Master Su and Jin Zhang stood stunned in shock. Wang Han held Su Qi tight and decisively left the chaotic house. They returned to his apartment, a tall building towering over the street. He gently set her down on the sofa to rest. Suddenly, a small card fell from her pocket, catching his eye. He bent down and picked it up. Reading it, he realized today was her birthday, forgotten by everyone. Quietly, he slipped out to prepare something special for her. 20 minutes later, Tuchi slowly woke up. She rubbed her eyes, confused about where she was. Wang Han came out from the kitchen, holding rice and cheerfully greeting her. He pulled a chair for her, presenting the meal he cooked himself. Seeing the rich dishes, Tuchi gasped at the tempting aroma. She teasingly doubted his bragging. Wang Han smiled, reminding her not to say unlucky words today. Then he suddenly brought out a cute pink birthday cake. Beaming, he wished her a happy birthday. Tuchi stared in surprise, asking how he knew it was her day. Wang Han laughed confidently, boasting his perfect birthday guessing skill. She was so moved her eyes filled with tears. He patted his shoulder proudly, claiming it was good enough for a supermodel to lean on. His boast made Tuchi laugh and shake her head helplessly. After the tender moment, he urged her to taste his cooking. Tuchi tasted a bite and praised it, making Wang Han beam with pride. After the meal, he suggested she make a wish. She clasped her hands and closed her eyes in sincere silence. Wang Han gazed at her fondly and asked about her future plans. She grew suspicious, asking if he was backing out of his promise to care for her and the baby. He explained he wasn't, just wanted to know if she'd dare marry him. She boldly slapped the table, saying yes, and told him to register the marriage tomorrow. Her face was firm, showing she was ready to marry right away. Her answer pleased him, and they sealed the promise. Suddenly, Wang Han's phone rang. He stood to answer, while she obediently waited. He stepped onto the balcony, lit a cigarette, and asked Xiaohua what was wrong. The panicked voice warned a dangerous man was coming to Jiangning to kill him, but Wang Han calmly asked how reliable the info was. The caller said the man was near the Lin family villa, and Wang Han nodded, saying he'd handle it soon. Meanwhile, Tuchi also got a call in the room. Xuefu called to wish her a happy birthday but felt salty for not being first. She hurriedly asked who was first, Qin Hao, but Tuchi sweetly said it was Wang Han. Xuefu screamed in disbelief that she was involved with the delivery guy. Tuchi calmly ate cake, saying it's a long story and she'd marry tomorrow. Xuefu freaked out and begged her not to. She kept advising Tuchi to stay calm and let her find a solution. Xuefu promised to use her powerful connections to help Tuchi no matter the cost. Outside, Wang Han was still on the line, hearing that the Grand Princess had asked about his whereabouts. He immediately asked if his Jiangning location was exposed. The trembling voice said if he didn't talk, he'd be castrated. Wang Han shouted, "What?" His hand slipped, dropping the lighter. Bending down, he cursed his traitorous brother for selling him out. The caller babbled about the Grand Princess being rich and hot, dodging responsibility. Wang Han snapped, demanding when she'd arrive, but got a fake signal lost. He slumped down, realizing things were beyond his control. The phone rang again, but he was too tired to care. A text came from Lin Xuefu, wanting to discuss the new city project. More texts followed, offering full cooperation and even total surrender to his terms. Wang Han smirked coldly, amazed she'd sell herself for ambition. Then came a call from Ching Yun, apologizing for his granddaughter's rash move. Wang Han replied softly, then ordered weapons ready and declared only Tuchi would lead the new project. Meanwhile, Tuchi lay comfortably on the bed, receiving a call. The voice cheerfully informed her she'd had a major collaboration with a big player. Tuchi happily agreed to meet the next day. When Wang Han walked in and saw her glowing mood, he asked why she dodged, saying he wouldn't get it. As they talked, she flipped through a book and teased, saying she never thought he could read. Wang Han stopped her hand, smiling slyly, saying there's still much she didn't know. The closeness made her flustered, stepping back nervously, thinking he was about to make a move. But he merely picked up a nearby pillow. Wang Han placed it down and gently told her to rest early, saying he'd sleep on the couch. Before leaving, he reminded her not to read in bed, it's bad for the baby. His calm, thoughtful actions stunned her. It took a moment to realize he had no ulterior motives. The scene shifted to the next morning, signaling a fresh start. Wang Han hadn't slept. He was outside training, balancing on his fingertips while counting reps. Tuchi woke up to the strange sight, wondering if he was practicing some bizarre martial art. Wang Han switched poses, calling it dragon unfolding palm, leaving Tuchi puzzled. He leapt up explaining it was a real combat skill, not for show, which only confused her more. Wiping sweat, he said martial arts were for self-defense and protecting loved ones, as his father taught. She nodded approvingly. Near departure time, he changed topics to breakfast and neatly packed supplies, surprising Tuchi with his care. As he passed by, he dropped a teasing line. She ignored it, then suddenly remembered she needed him to visit her house. He asked why, and she bluntly said she needed the household registry for marriage registration, shocking him. Thinking he hesitated, she raised her hand in mock threat, but he smiled calmly and agreed to go register with her. That morning they went downstairs, where a red motorbike awaited. Tuchi asked about meeting his family, but he said after the baby's born. She was startled, and he admitted fearing his family might look down on her, preferring to wait until she's a mother so they'd have no say. She put her hands on her hips, asking if he thought she was beneath him. He looked her over and said she looked fine in both charm and class. He smugly brushed his hair, saying only his own background was ordinary. His words made her laugh. Feeling teased, he softened his tone, coaxing her onto the bike. She pouted but climbed on anyway. They sped off helmetless. He told her to hold tight. She pretended to nag and told him to just go. In seconds, they zoomed out of the apartment complex. Unbeknownst to them, Chin Hao and his goons were tailing. Furious, Shed spent the night with the delivery guy, asking what to do. Gripping his cigarette in rage, he decided to deal with the delivery man and drag her to a hotel. Scarface and two henchmen cracked their knuckles, ready to chase on command. Meanwhile, Wang Han was speeding down the street with Tuchi behind him. In the rearview mirror, he noticed a white car tailing closely. He smirked coldly at the blatant daylight stalking. Calmly, he told Tuchi to head home and pack while he handled a few things. She nodded in agreement. Then he suddenly accelerated, leaving the pursuing car lost in a cloud of dust. The couple stopped briefly at a luxury villa, Tuchi's former home. As she was about to enter, Wang Han said he'd return after handling business. She agreed happily. Once she was out of sight, he glanced back to confirm the tail hadn't lost him. He kept driving in circles, deliberately luring the pursuers along. The scene cut to another villa clearly set up for its own drama. Wang Han suddenly braked hard, performing a showy, perfect stop. Wang Han pressed his foot down to steady himself. Looking up at the second floor, he spotted a shadow sneaking behind a door. He was certain the place had been booby-trapped. Refusing to retreat, he planned to lure them all out and finish it at once. Wang Han stepped inside, his heavy footsteps echoing on the stairs. In the room, he opened a case of parts and carefully assembled them. A long sniper rifle took shape in his hands, his eyes sharp as blades. Suddenly, a strange sound behind made him alert. He turned and saw Xuefu, wrapped only in a towel, staring in fear. She snapped furiously, cursing him for breaking into the Lin family villa. Then a laser dot landed on her. Wang Han shouted for her to get down. He tackled her onto the bed just as a bullet grazed past. Xuefu blushed, struggling and yelling at him non-stop. After the confusion, she started realizing what was happening. Coldly, he aimed his gun, warning her to stay quiet if she wanted to live. She backed away terrified. He tracked the shot's origin, muttering if the attacker was nine-headed serpent. Before finishing, he fired the first bullet. The enemy instantly shot back through the window. He threw himself over Xuefu again to shield her. They fell tangled together on the soft bed. With no other option, he had to use his final counterattack plan. Wang Han tossed her dress to expose the sniper's position, remembering another tale still unresolved. The flying dress through the window signaled more uninvited guests besides the ambushers. He took aim coldly, like turning into Elsu himself. The muzzle flashed, sending out a brass bullet. That shot was a deadly greeting to his foe. The bullet pierced toward the sniper hiding across. The so-called nine-headed serpent was taken out instantly. Shielding his eyes from the sun, he sighed. Enemy weaker than expected. Xuefu trembled but still scolded him for bringing a gun home. Before he could answer, Wang Han sensed something off approaching. A bright flash sliced through the air. That shot finished another assassin from Abyss. The remaining one counterattacked without hesitation. A barrage of bullets made Xuefu scream in panic. Wang Han picked a bullet embedded in the wall. Examining it, he saw a six-pointed star signature ammo of the Abe's organization. He asked Xuefu when she had angered Eastern Europeans. She clutched her head, clueless. Realizing how bad it was, he cursed inwardly. Only 2 bullets left. Xuefu recalled once refusing to sell her research tech to an Eastern European boss. Before she could continue, another bullet zipped past. He instantly pushed her head down to avoid it. They hid behind the sofa, breathing hard. Picking up shards from the floor, he muttered it was time to use his secret move. Then he dashed out like a blur. The shards in his hands flew into the bullet path with perfect precision. That throw took down another enemy from the squad. They dropped dead on the spot. Done, he brushed the dust off and told her to get up. It was safe now. Xuefu folded her arms, doubting his true identity, saying the delivery job was just a cover. He stayed silent. Angry, she threatened to tell Nan Nan everything unless he confessed. He simply raised a finger for her to hush. His eyes shifted toward the door, warning of noises outside. Xuefu trembled, whispering if there were more enemies. She clung to him in fear. He softly told her to calm down while he checked. Outside, 3 thugs burst in, gossiping about the delivery guy showing up here. Scarface rested his knife on his shoulder, guessing he came to steal something. Upstairs, Wang Han descended calmly to greet them. He asked directly why they were looking for him. Scarface barked that he was Hao Guess Man and demanded if Wang Han knew why. One goon said Tuchi belonged to Hao Gu, and since Wang Han spent the night with her, they came to deal with him. He just raised an eyebrow, lazily asking what they planned to do next. Scarface ordered his men to rush up and teach him a lesson. Wang Han stood still, utterly unbothered. Then he swiftly kicked them down one by one. In an instant, the whole group was sprawled unconscious on the floor. Scarface turned pale. Never thought delivery guys these days had real martial arts. Enraged, he charged in with his knife, shouting he'd never lose to a courier. As he lunged, Wang Han flipped aside in a flash. Instantly, he countered with a powerful kick. The strike sent the man flying backward before he could react. At that moment, Xuefu from upstairs came down and stumbled upon the chaotic scene below. She screamed in shock at the sight. Scarface staggered up, roaring, "What are you screaming for, damn woman?" He suddenly grabbed Xuefu, intending to use her as a hostage. Pressing the knife to her neck, he threatened Wang Han not to move, or he'd kill her. Xuefu panicked, warning her grandpa would avenge her. Wang Han sneered, mocking, "Oh, then do it." He walked toward him slowly, making the man panic. The thug shouted threats but didn't dare act. Wang Han taunted, "Shaking already? Why not strike?" The man trembled violently, stammering, "Stop, don't come any closer." Suddenly, Wang Han vanished from sight, startling him. In a blink, he appeared right in front, mocking his weak knife skills. The thug's whole body quivered, overwhelmed by Wang Han's terrifying aura. Wang Han coldly repeated, "Still not striking?" Scarface stood frozen, speechless in fear. Wang Han twisted his wrist, snapping the knife apart. Both Scarface and Xuefu stared in stunned disbelief. Grabbing his collar, Wang Han growled, "Trash like you isn't worth dirtying my hands." Scarface panicked, shouting, "Wait, I'm from the Black Dragon Society." Wang Han ignored him and slammed him hard to the ground. He scoffed, "So what? Useless title." The throw sent the man flying across the room. The thug crawled up, trying to reason, "You're still young, don't go down the criminal path." In response, Wang Han kicked him square in the face. The blow was so strong he spat blood. Scarface clutched his stomach, crying and begging for mercy, claiming he had an old mother, then said he had vital news. Wang Han growled, "You've got 3 seconds, speak." The man blurted, "How guess after Tuchi? If you don't hurry, it's too late." Hearing that, Wang Han froze, face tense. "What?" Furious, he kicked him again for hiding that information. Suddenly, voices shouted outside, "Anyone inside? This is the police." Wang Han immediately decided to leave to find Tuchi, telling Xuefu to keep his identity secret. She nodded, agreeing to cover for him. Moments later, 2 officers burst in, calming the trembling girl. One flashed his badge and asked what had happened at the scene. Xuefu quickly reported that 3 armed men had broken in while she was bathing. Scarface's gang was instantly restrained and cuffed for transport to the station. Another officer reported 2 nearby corpses with strange signs. The captain was stunned. "What? Bodies? Bring them in." At Suchi's house, Shinhao stormed in, locking the door and threatening violence, raging about the drugging incident he barely survived. She backed away in terror, begging him to let her go. He confessed he'd sent men to capture Wang Han and threatened to humiliate her right in front of him. Then he lunged, attempting to assault her. Tuchi struggled desperately under his bulk while he mocked her, saying no one would save her. He reveled in his supposed victory. But before he could gloat further, a thunderous kick smashed into his face. He flew backward, crashing down in front of the stunned Tuchi. Wang Han appeared, eyes blazing. "You dare touch my woman?" Even beaten, Qin Hao screamed insults, boasting his father's power. Wang Han replied coldly, "With a son like you, your father deserves punishment too." The thug shouted his father's name. Qin Gang, tycoon of Jiangning, then charged for a brawl. Before he could swing, Wang Han's kick sent him flying again. Ignoring him, Wang Han rushed to Tuchi, assuring her it was over. She clung to him, overwhelmed, and he vowed no one would ever harm her again. Qin Hao fled in shame, still yelling head return for revenge. Tuchi suddenly remembered something urgent and asked the time. Despite the ordeal, she worried about work and asked him to join a meeting. He agreed without hesitation. Upon arriving at the company, staff informed her director Lu was waiting in the conference room. She nodded, "All business." She entered the meeting room briskly. Tuchi apologized for being late before the executives. Lu Yu jumped up in surprise upon seeing Wang Han beside her. Thinking fast, Wang Han posed as her old classmate, leaving Tuchi momentarily puzzled. Realizing his intent, she played along, acting close to ease the tension. Without delay, she asked to move on to the main topic, and Lu Yu began presenting the project details. Suddenly, Old Master Su's men barged in, flattering loudly and claiming such a major project couldn't proceed without them. Shocked, Tuchi stood up and asked why her grandfather was there, while Lu Yu calmly greeted him as if nothing were wrong. Seeing the tension, Old Master Su faked friendliness, saying he'd heard about the big meeting and rushed over, even skipping lunch. Sitting down, he noticed Wang Han and grew furious, scolding him. Tuchi defended him, insisting she could bring whomever she pleased. Jian Zhang snapped, scolding her harshly, saying she wasn't qualified to sit at the main table and ordering her to pour water instead. Su Luo, thin and pale, stepped forward introducing herself, arrogantly claiming she'd negotiate with Director Lu on her sister's behalf. Unable to bear the injustice, Tuchi slammed the table and stood up, but her grandfather cut her off, repeating the order to serve drinks. Jian Zhang sneered, saying the company should now belong to Su Luo, while Tuchi should focus on marriage soon anyway. Wang Han couldn't hold it anymore. He stood up and furiously demanded why Tuchi's project was being blatantly stolen. Old Master Su, blind to his aura, arced back, belittling him as just a lowly delivery man. Su Luo and Jian Zhang joined in mockery, insulting Tuchi for dating beneath her and revealing she was pregnant, enraging the old man. Furious, he cursed and expelled both from the company, forbidding them to return. Tuchi, trembling, still bravely defended the man she loved. Provoked by her defiance, the old man lashed out with harsh insults. Wang Han rose coldly, calling them all shameless, and declared that only Tuchi could lead the project. The old man laughed scornfully, ridiculing him for speaking so boldly in a high-class place. Wang Han smiled calmly, announcing Tuchi as his fiancée and demanding respect. Lu Yu, realizing his real power, stammered her agreement. Both the old man and Jian Zhang were stunned, while Su Luo tried to argue for control of the project. Lu Yu stood firm, saying cooperation would continue only under Tuchi's management, leaving the others speechless. Tuchi confidently asserted her full authority, subtly putting them in their place. Even cornered, the old man still refused to yield. Jian Zhang quickly compromised to preserve relations, reluctantly assigning the project to Tuchi. Lu Yu immediately pushed for signatures. Lu Yu then proposed a private talk with Tuchi, asking others to leave. The old man swallowed his anger and left, though clearly unwilling. Su Luo looked confused at her father's decision, only to be scolded sharply by Jian Zhang. Wang Han smirked, mocking the losers, while Lu Yu handed Tuchi the contract to sign. In another room, Su Luo fumed over losing the project. Jian Zhang calmly reassured her it was part of the plan. Jian Yi then dropped a shocking secret: Tuchi wasn't his biological daughter, leaving them both stunned. Everyone froze upon learning Tuchi was adopted and now lived with a delivery man, tarnishing the family's reputation. The revelation made them ponder her true origins. Afraid of suspicion, Jian Yi explained the only clue was a cheap pendant. Su Luo quickly chimed in to please him. Jian Zhang whispered a plan: let Tuchi hold power temporarily, then snatch the project back later. Su Luo caught on and nodded, her face full of scheming intent. Someone recalled the old tale about the worthless necklace. Su Luo seized the moment to ask for details. Her father's eyes gleamed slyly. He said to let Tuchi take charge first, then strike later. Hearing that, Su Luo felt reassured by the plotted scheme. Time passed, the scene shifted to the company's ground floor. Wang Han, cigarette in hand, politely greeted two guards at the entrance. The chubby guard teased his sharp looks, assuming he was there for an interview. He shook his head. When they learned he was a delivery man, the guards joked they were natural rivals. Wang Han just smirked at the banter when suddenly a voice interrupted. Hearing it, the guards instantly straightened up, announcing the arrival of the powerful female boss, Director Su. Seeing their sudden seriousness, Wang Han mocked their reaction, earning a quick retort from the round guard. When Tuchi walked by, the two guards greeted her. She nodded and said something that totally got misinterpreted. The guards thought President to notice them, beaming with excitement, while Wang Han just shook his head in disbelief. One guard, deeply moved, sincerely advised Wang Han to keep his dreams alive even as a delivery guy. Right then, Tuchi drove up, looked his way, and called him into the car. Wang Han followed, waving goodbye to the stunned guards frozen in disbelief. The car sped off, leaving the two guards dumbfounded. In the car, Tuchi cheerfully said thanks to Xuefu for helping her find the person behind the project. Wang Han teased her, and Tuchi calmly announced they'd register their marriage tomorrow morning. She explained it was so their kid would have a father and offered 30K per month, making Wang Han laugh and ask if that meant she'd keep him. Tuchi turned serious, but Wang Han joked that 30K wasn't enough to keep him anyway. She snapped back, saying for a delivery guy, that was already too generous. The car sped on, filled with their half-joking banter. Finally, the car stopped at Wang Han's apartment complex. He stepped out, looking nostalgic, while Tuchi softly said he could go anywhere he wanted. As they went inside, Wang Han's phone rang, and he excused himself to answer. The caller reported a shipment robbed by the Heilong Society, who left a black card at his door. Wang Han calmly accepted the task but was then asked if he was really getting married. Furious, he demanded who spilled the beans. The answer: Lin Qingyun. The caller warned that marrying Tuchi would make turning back impossible, cutting him off mid-reply. They declared his big sister would meet him tomorrow, making Wang Han panic and beg for mercy. He cursed the old man on the line, then hid everything when Tuchi came over asking. Smiling, he reassured her and invited her inside. As soon as they entered, Tuchi noticed an envelope neatly placed on the table. Curious, she picked it up and asked what it was. Wang Han brushed it off and quickly changed the topic to dinner. Tuchi gently folded his clothes, thinking having a husband who could cook wasn't bad at all. Wang Han put on an apron and started cooking, while Tuchi sat quietly, thanking him. He joked that working hard for his wife and kid was worth it after all. He was the pampered house husband. Tuchi just smiled silently, her eyes filled with warmth. The next day began with a major milestone. Holding their marriage certificate, Wang Han realized he was officially a married man. Tuchi asked about his plans, and he joked about a date with a little girl instead of deliveries. She frowned at his teasing, while he laughed, saying it was all in the family anyway. Leaving the Civil Affairs Bureau, Wang Han remembered the task the old man gave him. Soon, he stood before a towering building, unsure if it was the right place. The Heilong Society, once a local gang, now operated legally as Heilong Corporation. Despite the legal facade, they still dealt in used cars, debt collection, and loans, and today, Wang Han came to test them. As soon as he entered, a group blocked his way, asking what he was doing there. Wang Han coldly replied he came to collect a debt. One thug misunderstood and invited him upstairs to handle paperwork, but Wang Han clarified he wanted Lu Hui himself. Their attitude changed instantly. Two guards turned hostile, threatening him for causing trouble. The long-haired one lunged, but Wang Han dodged easily. He kicked the man's leg with precision, making him collapse. The thug fell to his knees, unable to stand. Wang Han followed up with a sharp kick to the jaw, knocking him out. The bald thug charged in to help. One light kick from Wang Han disfigured his face completely. The long-haired one scrambled up, trying to flee. But Wang Han's deadly glare froze him. "Can you take me to Lu Hui now?" he growled. Meanwhile, Lu Hui sat comfortably in his private office. He flirted with his secretary, asking how the wine was while she sweet-talked him back. Lu Hui promised a reward after the drink, making her blush at his sleazy words. Just then, Wen Long burst in, shouting about an intruder. Annoyed by the interruption, Lu Hui yelled that no one dared make trouble on his turf. Wen Long hadn't finished explaining when chaos erupted. A guard was thrown into the room, lying motionless. His body hit the floor, completely limp. Furious, Lu Hui pulled a gun, roaring about his territory being breached. At that moment, a black card sliced through the air. It stabbed straight into the table, silencing Lu Hui. Trembling, he picked it up and went pale. It was a black card from the 10 Elders Society. Wen Long collapsed to his knees, too scared to stand. Wang Han appeared behind them, mocking how they still feared the 10 Elders' name. Seeing him, Lu Hui instantly switched tone, respectfully calling him Ninth Young Master. Wang Han calmly said had left the underworld, though some still remembered him. Lu Hui knelt, awaiting orders. He hurried to light a cigarette for Wang Han, acting like a loyal servant. Wang Han took a puff, then questioned him about the stolen shipment. Lu Hui denied it but secretly reached for his gun. Wang Han, unaware, kept talking about the price of touching a black card. Suddenly, Lu Hui aimed his gun at him, vowing not to be cornered. Unfazed, Wang Han calmly finished his smoke. He jabbed the lit cigarette into the gun barrel, deflecting the shot. Then coolly said, "Anyone who's pointed a gun at me isn't alive anymore." With one swift slash of the black card, he cut Lu Hui's throat. The infamous boss fell dead, without a word. The horrified secretary screamed, and Wen Long stood frozen in shock. He couldn't believe Lu Hui was taken down in seconds. The guards rushed in and shouted when they saw the body. They confirmed their boss was truly dead. Wang Han patted Wen Long's shoulder, giving him two choices: return the goods or die. Trembling, Wen Long swore loyalty to ninth young master. The rest quickly followed. Wang Han turned coldly, waving a hand. Take me to the shipment. Xin Hao, bandaged and furious, appeared with his men, ignoring advice to stand down and demanding to kill Wang Han. He declared he came to meet Lu, the Black Dragon boss. As long as Lu Hui killed the delivery guy, he'd pay any price. Inside, Wen Long gathered the gang, announcing himself as the new leader and promising wealth to followers. Xin Hao stormed in, shouting for Boss Lu before even assessing the scene. Seeing no sign of him, he grew suspicious. Xin Hao barked at Wen Long to fetch Lu Hui, but Wen Long coolly replied Lu Hui was gone and he now ruled. Hearing that, Xin Hao changed tone, congratulated him, and offered 5 million for a kill. The target, he said, was just a delivery guy. Wen Long was stunned. A delivery man worth that bounty? He said if it was a joke, Xin Hao was in the wrong place. Furious, Xin Hao showed his bandaged head, ranting that Wang Han beat him and stole his woman, demanding revenge. Wen Long laughed, slapped the table, and said it was just a delivery guy. Show him the photo and he'd handle it. Xin Hao had no photo but knew the address and insisted on coming to watch. Wen Long patted his shoulder and agreed. Wen Long ordered his men to prepare for revenge in the name of young Master Qin. At the delivery company, Wang Han was changing uniform when a co-worker said the boss wanted him. He replied he'd go after his run. His co-workers waved goodbye and left. Wang Han was about to head out. A black car screeched to a stop, blocking his path, and he shouted angrily at the driver. Xin Hao jumped out with a steel pipe, boasting he'd found him. Wang Han just smirked, hands in pockets, unimpressed. His calmness enraged Xin Hao, who cursed and vowed to make him kneel and cry. Xin Hao swung the pipe, but Wang Han sidestepped easily. Wang Han flicked ash into Xin Hao's face, making him curse louder. Without a word, Wang Han kneed him in the gut, reminding him about kneeling. He followed with an elbow to the back, forcing Xin Hao down. Groaning in pain, Xin Hao finally dropped to his knees. He screamed at Wen Long to stop watching and do something. Wen Long and his men stepped out, ready to act. He sneered, surprised a delivery guy could fight this well. Xin Hao demanded to torture Wang Han slowly until he begged for death. Wen Long tried to act friendly, patting Wang Han's shoulder. But one icy glance from Wang Han made him tremble. Wang Han slapped him hard, face twisted, shouting that they had no ties. He warned Wen Long not to flaunt power just because he'd taken charge. Terrified, Wen Long bowed and begged forgiveness, saying he'd never have come if he'd known. Xin Hao, clueless, yelled, "What the hell is a former young master?" Wen Long kicked him, scolding him for provoking a terrifying man. When Xin Hao tried to flee, Wang Han kicked him square in the chest, warning him to stay away. He paused, as if remembering something, then added, "Tuchi is my wife. Touch her again, and it won't just be your arm," before breaking Xin Hao's arm with a kick. Checking his watch, Wang Han hurried off, grumbling about being late. After he left, Xin Hao got up, furious, and yelled at Wen Long for fearing a delivery man. Wen Long only sighed, saying that wasn't someone you could afford to mess with. About 15 minutes later, Wang Han arrived at a rundown apartment complex. He glanced around, criticizing how shabby the place looked. He knocked politely on the door. After delivering the order, he asked about payment, and the man inside said cash. Suddenly, a girl burst out screaming for help, shouting she was being assaulted. Another man ran out, punching her and covering her mouth. Wang Han grew suspicious, but the skinny man hurriedly paid and tried to send him away. Once the door shut, he heard them whisper about killing him for seeing too much. Wang Han scratched his head helplessly, not expecting this kind of mess. One of the men rushed out with a knife, yelling threats, making Wang Han's face turn serious. Without hesitation, he struck, knocking the guy aside. Rubbing his neck, he muttered about how even food delivery couldn't stay peaceful. Seeing his partner down, the other thug panicked, realizing Wang Han was no ordinary man. He charged angrily, accusing Wang Han of meddling. Wang Han caught his arm and mocked him for being weak yet still doing evil. Then he punched him square in the face. Following up, he kicked him into the other man, as screams echoed from inside. Instantly, he kicked down the door and rushed in. He froze at the shocking scene before him. Yuaning was tied to the bed, crying and begging for help. He quickly untied her and gently asked how she was. Trembling, she said she could still walk. Calmly, Wang Han said he'd called the police and suggested contacting her family. She agreed. He said he'd go restrain the two thugs outside so they couldn't escape. He tied them up and scolded that evil men always meet retribution. Yuan tearfully thanked him for defeating both alone and introduced herself. Just then, his phone suddenly rang. She slowly handed it to him, saying it was his call. He answered, only to be scolded by a sharp female voice for getting married without telling the family. Stammering, he tried to explain, but she hung up before he could. Wang Han sighed helplessly, frustrated at being cut off. At that moment, Tian Xiong and the police burst in, calling out Yuan Ying's name. She broke down crying, running to hug her father. He checked her worriedly, asking if she was hurt. Yuan Ying reassured him and pointed at Wang Han, saying he was her savior. Wang Han calmly explained everything while the police arrested the criminals. Tian Xiong thanked him sincerely, confirming if he really defeated them. He nodded. Impressed, Tian Xiong said Wang Han must be a martial expert, at least small grandmaster level. Noticing his remarkable aura, he introduced himself, gave his card, and offered help anytime. Wang Han politely replied, recognizing him as from the White Tiger Dojo, promising to visit someday. He declined the dojo's high-paying job offer and firmly left. Tian Xiong watched regretfully, wishing to recruit him, while Yuan called out that had forgotten his jacket. Wang Han walked out silently, deep in thought. Sitting in his car, he muttered about how one delivery had turned into such chaos and remembered he still had to find Tuchi. Without delay, Wang Han revved the engine and sped away from the apartment. Meanwhile, tension was rising at Shanghua Corporation headquarters. In the office, Lin Jingbang nervously said he flew back after hearing bad news. He hurried to show affection, promising to help, but Tuchi kept her distance and politely refused. Despite rejection, he persisted with clingy confessions, making her uncomfortable enough to warn him to keep distance and use her proper name. Growing desperate, he grabbed her hand, begging to be her husband and offering everything he had. Tuchi coldly slapped him, stating she was married and pregnant. He was stunned, refusing to believe it and accusing her of lying. At that moment, Wang Han appeared, sarcastically noting how his love rivals kept multiplying. Jingbang, furious, called him an unprofessional delivery man, but Tuchi happily asked why he'd come. He brought her a meal, saying she needed to eat well for the baby, and she proudly introduced him as her husband. His heart swelled with joy at hearing her call him husband publicly. Jingbang froze, realizing she truly was married. Wang Han firmly told him to leave, it was their private time. Jingbang tried again, but Tuchi bluntly repeated the order to get out. As he left, he vowed not to give up, but Tuchi told the receptionist to bar him permanently. Wang Han casually unpacked the food, joking that the rival ran off before he even had to fight. Tuchi seriously clarified that she had no feelings for Jingbang, so he wasn't really a rival. Wang Han pretended to sympathize with her situation, acting all understanding. She couldn't take her eyes off the food. Unexpectedly, Wang Han closed the lunchbox lid. She questioned him, and he cheekily claimed that since there was no love, she shouldn't eat. Swallowing her pride, she reminded him she needed nutrients for the baby. After tasting it, she was surprised by how delicious his cooking was. She offered to invest in a restaurant for him, but he flatly refused, saying he only cooked for her. Her expression changed. She suspected he'd cooked for other women before. He quickly denied it, saying he only cooked for the baby, not her. Tuchi suddenly noticed he wasn't wearing his delivery uniform and questioned him. He awkwardly explained he'd given it to a girl he just rescued. Her jealousy flared instantly, and she kicked him out. Standing outside, he pleaded that she shouldn't get angry while pregnant. Still sulking, she snapped that he should go find his sexy little sister. Despite fuming, she still checked her phone as usual. Wang Han texted sweetly, promising to earn money for their child and asking what she wanted for dinner. She unexpectedly invited him home for dinner, declaring him the baby's father when asked about him. Reading the message, Wang Han could only laugh awkwardly at her boldness. He grumbled to himself that she sure had a sharp tongue for someone already his wife. Then he hopped onto his delivery bike, full of confidence. He gunned the throttle and sped off without hesitation. As night fell, the moon and stars lit the dark sky. His red bike stopped in front of Tuchi's family home. The moment she entered, her mother scolded her for bringing him home. Tuchi immediately declared they were married and that bringing her husband home was perfectly right. Hui Min couldn't accept her daughter marrying a mere delivery man. Tuchi snapped back, firmly saying she knew exactly what she was doing. Her father quickly stepped in to defuse the argument while I pretended to side neutrally with Tuchi. I fake smiled, warmly inviting Wang Han inside as if I were being polite. To keep peace, her father mediated, telling Tuchi to change clothes and come down for dinner. Hui Min secretly plotted, asking me if Tan Hao had been called to teach Wang Han a lesson, and I confirmed. She gleefully anticipated her reinforcements, eager to show off. Her husband's attitude flipped the moment Tan Hao arrived. He greeted him with great respect. Tan Hao, clueless, was tricked by me into staying, promised a fun surprise. As everyone wondered what was going on, Tuchi and Wang Han came down the stairs. Hui Min frantically signaled her daughter to act distant before Tan Hao, but Tuchi frowned in annoyance. Ignoring her daughter's anger, Hui Min deliberately arranged Tuchi's seat next to Tan Hao. Tuchi bluntly asked why there was only one empty chair at the table. Hui Min dodged the question but hinted that Wang Han didn't deserve to sit with them. Wang Han looked over, placed his hand on Tan Hao's chair, and coldly asked if that was so. Her father pretended not to notice, brushing it off and telling everyone to start eating. Tuchi, unwilling to let her husband be humiliated, told him to sit while Shed stand instead. Her father instantly objected, ordering her to sit next to Tan Hao. Meanwhile, Tan Hao could feel the terrifying aura radiating from Wang Han. Overwhelmed, he jumped up, offering his seat to Wang Han with trembling respect. The father was dumbfounded, while Hui Min sneered endlessly about Wang Han's lowly status. To everyone's shock, Tan Hao praised Wang Han, saying even he wasn't worthy to sit if Wang Han wasn't. Wang Han calmly told Tuchi to sit, reminding her she was pregnant. He kept serving her food attentively like a perfect husband, leaving her father speechless. I took the chance to pat Tan Hao's shoulder, ready to spill something juicy. Wang Han ignored our antics, focusing only on his wife, even advising she could sip a little wine. Tan Hao was about to leave when I stupidly revealed that I'd spiked Tuchi's wine with sleeping pills. Realizing the truth, Tan Hao exploded in rage, cursing me furiously. He shouted for Tuchi to stop drinking the wine was drugged. Shocked, Tuchi froze as Tan Hao quickly blamed everything on me. Hearing that, Tuchi snapped, standing up abruptly. Without restraint, she threw the wine in my face, calling me shameless. I was left speechless, unable to justify my vile act. Wang Han glared at me like a beast ready to tear me apart. Without hesitation, he punched me square in the face. He swore no one would ever harm his wife and vowed to personally deal with anyone who tried. Fed up, Tuchi decided to leave that filthy, toxic house for good. Meanwhile, Hui Min fretted over me instead of caring about her own daughter. Once in the car, Tuchi turned to Wang Han and asked if he had anything to say for himself. He pretended not to understand, but Shed seen everything and wanted to know why Tan Hao feared him. Wang Han replied casually that guys like that only learn manners after a good beating. She honestly said that with his social standing, her family's approval was impossible. He reassured her slyly, saying his own family's rules were even stricter. Suddenly his phone rang, and his face went pale. Something was wrong. It was a warning text from Ru Shuang, ordering him to show up within 10 minutes, making him visibly panic. The dark, eerie apartment hallway made the tension even heavier. For the first time, Tuchi saw Wang Han truly afraid of someone. He seriously warned her not to speak carelessly when his sister arrived, since his family had its own strict codes. She was doubtful how could such a small family have rules. As the door opened, his sister sat calmly, smoking like a queen. He instantly switched to a flattering tone, pretending to be delighted to see her. Ru Shuang said nothing, only giving him a cold, disdainful glance. Without warning, she ordered him to kneel. He obeyed instantly, like a scared little brother from childhood. Ru Shuang's eyes turned to Tuchi, motioning for her to kneel as well. Wang Han hurriedly pleaded that Tuchi was pregnant and couldn't do that. His sister grabbed Tuchi's wrist, suspicious about the pregnancy. The gesture was actually her checking the pulse for confirmation. Then, out of nowhere, Ru Shuang kicked Wang Han hard in the chest to vent her anger. He stumbled, trying to explain but not knowing where to start. Ru Shuang refused to listen, saying punishment came first, explanations later. Tuchi immediately stepped in, standing up to defend him. She argued that using violence without proving fault was absurd. Ru Shuang calmly said the Wang family upheld strict traditional virtues. She listed his 3 great sins: not reporting his marriage, conceiving before wedlock, and marrying beneath his station. Tuchi grew furious at being looked down upon and refused to accept being deemed unworthy. Ru Shuang coldly recited the names of 4 noble heiresses once arranged to marry Wang Han. Wang Han softly begged her to stop, afraid Tuchi would be hurt. But Tuchi wasn't moved. She accused him of putting on an act. Her tone turned sharp, calling the whole family childish and delusional. She said the story of his noble background was just a lie to cover his inferiority complex. Even as he tried to explain, she refused to believe him, saying she wouldn't let her child grow up in deceit. Enraged, she declared Shed leave and only contact him after giving birth. Wang Han tried to chase her, but Ru Shuang blocked him, forbidding the mismatched romance. She only cared about family honor, saying Tuchi needed time to reconsider, and revealed she came to Jiangning on the clan leader's orders. Wang Han noticed a pearl in her hand. She explained it was a betrothal token for the lost daughter of Feng Valley, who happened to be his destined fiancée. Wang Han was utterly helpless, trapped by a forced engagement despite already being married. Ruosa's stern face forced him to obey his father's orders without protest. Shuefu comforted Tuchi, inviting her to stay at Longwan Villa to calm her mind. Tuchi felt deceived, but Shuefu advised her to consider that Wang Han might be sincere. Tuchi refused to believe the engagement, noble clan, or saintess tales were real, just his act. Shuefu reasoned sharply that if it was all true, Wang Han was far from ordinary. Tuchi snapped at her friend's defense of him, feeling betrayed. She suspected her friend hid something, but Shuefu nervously denied it. To distract her, Shuefu quickly changed the topic and teased her back. Tuchi asked about contacting the elder, and Shuefu confidently promised to find a way. A knock on the door caught both their attention. Opening it, Shuefu frowned to see Lin Jingbang standing there. He suddenly offered to introduce Tuchi to the elder she sought. Shuefu doubted his claim, unwilling to believe he knew someone that powerful. Tuchi grew excited while Jingbang bragged about his grandpa's connections. The next day, Wang Han was shocked that Tuchi still refused his calls or explanations. While distracted, his phone buzzed with a message. His brief hope vanished when he saw it wasn't from Tuchi. Xia Yuanying thanked him for saving her and offered to return his coat, but he declined. He stared at the pearl in his hand, worried about finding his betrothed. A sudden urgent call came. He answered to bad news from Xiaohua. He was stunned to hear that Tai Tu had died of exhaustion after rescuing someone from drowning. She sat silently for a long time, no longer caring about clothes or appearances. Nguyen realized that when Wang Han vanished, her world turned empty. Tian Xiong noticed his daughter's gloom and asked, making her fear head discover the truth. He knocked first, but she ignored him, and he sensed her heavy thoughts. He suggested she attend his friend's son's birthday in his place, surprising her. He explained it was a survival party after an accident, but she objected since the rescuer died unfairly. She sought his ulterior motive to use her, while he soothed her and asked about the delivery man. She stared at her phone, saying he refused to take back the coat. He advised her to let it go. Clearly, fate wasn't on their side. Fei Yu suddenly attacked a reporter amid the crowd, cursing loudly. No one at the party dared defend the beaten female reporter. A bodyguard warned the girl to stay hidden, per the master's orders. Fei Yu kept assaulting the reporter without restraint before everyone. He raised his hand again, threatening to kill her for the insult. Suddenly, he sensed something dangerous right above him. A tall man appeared and kicked him hard to the floor. Fei Yu crashed into the wall, shocking the entire party. The kicker was Wang Han, coldly asking who he intended to kill. Yuan gasped to see Wang Han again, confirming it was truly him. Fei Yu refused to yield and ordered his men to strike back. The guards instantly charged forward, unwilling to let an outsider cause chaos. Dila kicked hard into the stomach of a thug about to attack Wang Han. The blow dropped the man instantly, unable to fight back. Xinian joined in, kneeing an enemy straight in the chest. Xing Yafei leapt up and kicked another man square in the face. The blind guy punched so hard the guard's visor flew off. Wang Han's team swiftly crushed all of Fei Yu's men. Fei Yu panicked, unsure what kind of monsters he had provoked. Wang Han stated he came to demand justice for Tai Tu, who saved Fei Yu but died for it. Calmly smoking, Wang Han expressed fury at the insult to his fallen friend. Fei Yu refused to admit fault, bragging about his power and ready to strike again. His bodyguards rushed in as soon as he called. Wang Han demanded an honorable apology and 3 bows at his friend's grave to end it. Fei Yu ignored the offer and shouted for his men to attack. Coldly, Wang Han lifted a chair, rejecting any peace. Without hesitation, he smashed the chair right into Fei Yu's face. Fei Yu flew into the birthday cake on impact. Humiliated, he screamed in rage. Wang Han warned him that had just thrown away his last chance. Then he delivered a direct strike to Fei Yu's body. Shouts came from the doorway, demanding to know who caused the chaos. Xiang Huai entered with a stern face, ready to intervene. Fei Yu immediately turned to his father for help in panic. Xiang Huai, furious for his son, ordered Lao Song to fight. Uncle Wu recognized Lao Song as a master, warned Yuan, and she asked him to help Wang Han. Lao Song charged like a rocket, mocking Wang Han as an arrogant junior. A huge hand suddenly stopped his attack midair. He clearly hadn't expected to be blocked so easily. Jila volunteered to fight first, eager to challenge Lao Song. He wrapped a diaper on his opponent's head and spun wildly, an absurd technique. Lao Song was completely defeated, unable to rise again. Xiang Huai was stunned that Lao Song lost so easily. He tried to get up but suddenly remembered something that froze him. Xiang Huai quickly changed tone, respectfully greeting Wang Han and proposing peace. Wang Han repeated his original demand, blaming the son's arrogance. Xiang Huai offered money instead, 1 million to settle everything. A gang kicked him away, declaring a human life wasn't worth that little. Wang Han rejected their arrogance, questioning the Chu family's pride. Xiang Huai still didn't grasp the danger, calling a mechanic's life worthless. Wang Han declared head crushed the Chu family and ordered immediate action. He commanded to cut off all Chu family businesses in Jiangning. Xiang Huai forced a strained smile, pretending it was all a joke. A panicked subordinate rushed in, irritating Xiang Huai with bad news. The man whispered that all partners had pulled out, the company suspended, traced back to the national giant Huanan Lei Corporation. To clarify, the bespectacled man adjusted his glasses and revealed he was Lei Xiaohua himself. Xiang Huai instantly bowed deeply, apologizing for offending young Master Lei. He scolded Fei Yu harshly and forced him to kneel, stammering for forgiveness over the misunderstanding. Wang Han rejected the apology, coldly kicking him down and mocking that nothing was a misunderstanding. Xiang Huai grew visibly uneasy, lowering his voice to make peace and hinting at his military ties to save face. Wang Han sneered, ordering the blind guy to check his background, showing no fear of military power. The blind guy calmly made a call, his quiet tone freezing the armed men behind. Minutes later they withdrew. La dragged Fei Yu off, while Wang Han coldly said Xiang Huai could come looking if he dared. Terrified, Fei Yu clung to his father, begging him to call second uncle in the army. Xiang Huai dialed immediately but smirked oddly as he glanced at the screen. His smugness shattered when furious shouting erupted from the other end, scolding him for offending a top figure from the capital. Every harsh word left Xiang Huai stunned as he learned his brother had been dismissed, utter disbelief on his face. The scene shifted to a silent cemetery. Before them stood the grave of Tai Tu, their fallen brother. The 5 men surrounded Fei Yu, forcing him to face his guilt as Si Mian sternly ordered him to kneel. Without another word, Wang Han kicked Fei Yu's head down before the tombstone as he screamed about the law. Icy-faced, Wang Han pressed his head to the ground, commanding him to kowtow and apologize to his savior. Fei Yu's face was crushed into the dirt, unable to lift it, enduring his humiliation in silence. As they lit incense, Wang Han spoke for them all, apologizing to the dead, while Si Mian offered greetings from the living. Their voices faded with parting words nearby. Tuchi quietly visited her grandmother's grave. She sat with a soft smile, eyes sad as she spoke of her pregnancy with a delivery man. Rain poured suddenly as she confessed being deceived by a man pretending to be a rich heir. After opening a wine jar, she shifted topic, recalling a kind man who helped her through hardship. Before the grave, she placed her grandmother's favorite foods, cakes, eggs, and a jar of pickled peaches, saying everything was ready for her. Rising with a calm face, she softly promised to visit again when she could, then walked off in the rain. At the cemetery gate, someone holding an umbrella by the car called out. She hurried over in reply. In the car, Xu Efu grumbled about the sudden rain, urging to go home, while Lin Jingbang snapped back, reminding her he was her brother. As the car was about to move, another vehicle suddenly blocked their way, startling all 3. Jingbang cursed at the blockage. Xu Efu noticed the luxury car, while Tuchi silently watched. A group of men in black, faces cold, stepped out into the rain. They walked straight to Wang Han's group, respectfully greeting him as young master. Each raised an umbrella over Wang Han and his men. He coolly instructed them to care for Tai Tu's daughter, and Si Mian obeyed at once. Inside the car, Tuchi's group watched closely. Jingbang looked confused, while Xu Efu was shocked recognizing Wang Han. Tuchi spoke slowly, eyes anxious, not understanding why he appeared there. Outside, Si Mian respectfully opened the car door for Wang Han. Xu Efu grew more confused, repeatedly asking Tuchi who opened the door, but she blankly said she didn't know. Jingbang started to worry too, unsure of Wang Han's intentions. Wang Han's 2 cars quietly drove off, his commanding voice inside saying, "Go to Tai Tu's house first." Tuchi turned to Xu Efu, trying to convince herself she must have mistaken the man's identity. Xu Efu suggested calling Wang Han, but Tuchi firmly refused, saying it was impossible. Jingbang drove off, urging everyone home, but Xu Efu disagreed and reminded them of their planned meeting with the elder. Jingbang smirked confidently, flashing an OK sign and saying everything was ready. As the rain cleared, Xu Efu added, "The day after tomorrow, take Nan Nan to meet the elder," and Jingbang confirmed. The scene shifted to a sunny, crowded area where an old man was dozing by the roadside. Si Mian opened the car door for Wang Han, assuring him this was the right address. Wang Han approached the old man politely, asking about Tai Tu's house. The old man looked puzzled, saying he didn't know who Tai Tu was. Patiently, Wang Han replied the man's real name was Chun Chang. Hearing the real name, the old man pointed the way and asked if they came to claim inheritance or see his daughter. Wang Han said they were close friends. The old man sighed, explaining Chen Chang was kind but his family seized his house after he died. Wang Han led the group upstairs, spotting a child sitting in the hallway, making him pause. Si Mian cursed furiously when he learned someone had taken Tai Tu home. Wang Han knelt to ask the girl if this was Chen Chang's house. The little girl, holding a dirty box with scratches on her face, softly said her father had gone far away. Her words shocked Dilu and Si Mian shouted, confirming Chen Chang was her real father. Wang Han showed no surprise, gently asking why she wasn't inside. She said her uncle and aunt kicked her out. Pointing to the carton box, she tearfully said her aunt told her that was her new home. Rage boiled in Si Mian as he clenched his fists, cursing their cruelty, and Wang Han's anger also showed. Unable to hold back, Si Mian kicked the door repeatedly, nearly breaking it off its hinges. The door flew open, revealing a couple casually eating seafood, glaring in annoyance at the intruders. Chen Chang's brother turned and cursed, threatening to punch, while the wicked aunt sneered at them. Wang Han strode in coldly, voice icy as he questioned their theft, with his team and the trembling girl behind him. Under pressure, the man still shouted that it was his house and threatened to call the police, but Wang Han coolly listed his crimes. Without hesitation, he kneed the man in the gut, spitting harsh insults before the man could react. The man crashed down, toppling the table. The aunt screamed for help, shouting that someone was attacking them. Wang Han took the girl's hand and ordered Dila to deal with them, making the couple freeze in terror. Dila laughed with delight, joined by Ching Fa, both closing in like hunters on helpless prey. Before the man could move, Dila punched him straight in the face, his fat rippling as he screamed in agony. Amid the cries echoing from the house, Wang Han gently asked the girl's name. She softly replied, Wagwa. Simian couldn't hold back, saying the girl would be beaten to death if left here, instantly wiping the smile from Wang Han's face. Wang Han quickly softened, gently asking Wegwei if she wanted to live with them, leaving her surprised and thoughtful. Seeing her hesitate, he told Simian to take care of her, making him panic and loudly refuse on the spot. Wang Han clicked his tongue awkwardly, looking down at the little girl clutching his shirt with wide innocent eyes. Simian slyly grinned, whispering for her to call Wang Han dad, and she happily hugged him, shouting it, making him smile and pat her head. Though touched, he still grumbled at Simian for trapping him, barely married and already made a father. The next morning's bright sunlight bathed a peaceful everyday scene. In Wang Han's kitchen, wearing an apron and holding a steaming tray of buns, he called Guegua for breakfast. She sat neatly, smiling. They ate together, Guegua cheerful and lively, while Wang Han frowned at his phone. On screen was his chat with Tuchi. Had sent a breakfast photo, calling her the child's mother, but she coldly refused contact. Staring at the rejection, he muttered sadly, while Guegua innocently called, Dad, I'm done eating. He turned off the phone, smiled, and told her to wait while he changed to take her to school. At the school gate, parents bustled about, holding their children's hands. Wang Han held Guegua's hand, reminding her, this elite school was chosen by Lei. Study hard, and she obediently nodded. He brought her inside, where a man and a female assistant greeted them. The man introduced himself as Principal Duan and the assistant as Ms. Ha. Wang Han was startled to recognize the woman and instinctively called her name. Nguyen Hon smiled brightly, warmly greeting him in return. He smiled back, asking if she was a teacher. She looked at the child curiously and confirmed the girl's identity. He gently patted the child's head and softly said she was his daughter. Ji Yuanon was surprised and saddened to learn he already had a child. The principal suggested she take the girl to class. He then asked Ms. Ha to care for the child while he worked, and she kindly agreed. Wang Han left. The teacher reminded the girl to say goodbye, and Guegua happily waved at her foster dad. He looked back, smiling, and promised to pick her up after school. Nguyen Hon curiously asked about their relationship. The girl revealed he was her foster dad because her real father had died. The answer moved the teacher deeply, and she led the girl into class. Outside in the car, Wang Han smoked, pondering his new role as a father. A seductive woman called him, her voice teasing. He was shocked she had his number, calling her princess and asking how she found it. She warned Shed come see him. He hastily refused, fearing it would affect his wife. The woman coldly mentioned his wife's name, Tuchi. Furious to realize he was being watched, he panicked as she said Shed meet his wife. Then the call cut off. Wang Han stared at his phone, sighing that the line had gone dead. The next morning, he sent his daughter into class with a gentle farewell, and she waved obediently. Before leaving, he texted his wife, remembering she was pregnant. Their chat turned tense. Tuchi accused him of staging everything. He got in the car, lit a cigarette, and sighed bitterly about women. Exhaling smoke, he went on grumbling about the work ahead. By noon, he stopped before a grand villa, apparently the next delivery stop. Though he muttered in awe, his face stayed indifferent, barely interested. Pressing the bell, he called out that the ordered food had arrived. When the door opened, he politely handed over the meal and wished the customer a good lunch. To his shock, the one opening the door was Tuchi. Both stood frozen. He could only give an awkward smile at the awkward coincidence. Another girl appeared, asking Tuchi who he was, and got the answer that he was just a delivery guy. Curious, the girl asked more. Wang Han quickly said they'd been classmates in middle school. The explanation only deepened her suspicion. She introduced herself as Hua Sidong, saying she didn't remember him. He made up the name Zhang Wei, claiming poor grades made him forgettable. Then another voice cut in. Yuan Bo, a haughty man, appeared, declaring no one by that name existed in their class. He looked down on him, sneering that a classmate couldn't possibly become a delivery man. Despite the scorn, Tuchi coldly defended Wang Han against his mockery. The arrogant man lectured about social class and warned Tuchi to avoid lowlifes like Wang Han. Yuan Bo irritably shooed Wang Han away and arrogantly pulled out cash as if to grant him charity. He tossed the money with contempt, treating it as a handout. Wang Han accepted it, face cold, cursing inside for having to stay calm while Yuan Bo kept barking insults. Outside, he gave a faint polite smile, thanking them like a proper professional. Inside, a woman asked about the pizza. Yuan Bo rushed over, fawning and calling her goddess Yuan On. But Yuan On ignored him, lighting up instead when she recognized Wang Han and greeted him warmly. He waved awkwardly, clearly uncomfortable with the situation. Yuan Bo was stunned by their connection, while Yuan On bluntly revealed Wang Han had once saved her life. She instantly grabbed his arm, inviting him in for a drink, leaving Tuchi stunned and Wang Han flustered, trying to decline. Yuan Bo butted in with sarcasm, saying Wang Han was just a broke delivery guy. Yuan On fiercely shot him down. Wang Han quickly made his escape, but Yuan On ran after him calling out, while Tuchi secretly watched. Yuan On gently asked him to drive her to school since she couldn't drive, making him hesitate awkwardly. Inside, Tuchi glared angrily, while Yuan Bo mocked that head weight in his luxury car, sneering at Wang Han's. Wang Han didn't respond to Yuan On, only meeting his wife's gaze through the window. But Tuchi turned away, visibly furious, bitterly saying he could take her if he wanted. Yuan On then hopped onto his bike, hugging him as she waved goodbye to Tuchi, and Sidong cheerfully waved back. The three at the gate watched the bike ride off, only Yuan On smiling brightly. Yuan Bo awkwardly tried to ease the tension by offering cake, but Tuchi's irritation was clear. She left bluntly, citing work, leaving him stammering behind. Meanwhile, Wang Han kept driving with Yuan On sitting behind him. She rested her head on his back contentedly, making him ask if he was going too fast. Her cheeks flushed as she softly denied it, while he glanced left to check the road. Suddenly, a red car pulled up driven by none other than Tuchi. Wang Han stopped as Tuchi lowered her window, calling Yuan On to switch cars, but she refused. He also urged her to change rides, not wanting to anger his wife, so she reluctantly agreed. Before leaving, she invited him to dinner that weekend. He awkwardly said he'd be working. She pressed for a time, but he dodged, saying well see, then hurried off. Yuan On waved after him, reminding him to drive safely. He grimaced, muttering that women were nothing but trouble. By evening, he leisurely walked home holding his daughter's hand. He asked if she was hungry and promised to cook. She cheerfully said she loved his food. Upon arriving, he noticed signs of someone's presence. The girl pointed at strange slippers on the floor. Steam from the bathroom confirmed someone was inside. Xiang Tang stepped out in a towel, greeting him seductively. He instantly covered the child's eyes, shouting for her to put on clothes, but she teased him calmly. She sat down, curiously asking who the little girl was. Once she was seated, he released the child and firmly said the girl was his daughter, reminding her he was married. Xiang Tang reached to touch the child, mockingly saying, "Call me mom." He shouted angrily, rejecting that absurd idea. He rushed forward, begging her not to scare the child. She ignored him, continuing to coax the girl to call her mother with twisted logic. Staying calm, Wang Han handed the backpack to his daughter and told her to go study upstairs. Wei Guo obeyed, leaving the tense adults behind. Xiang Tang exploded, furious that had married someone else behind her back. He flinched as she touched him inappropriately. She kicked him and screamed, demanding to know if he still remembered her. Wearing only the towel, she made him so uneasy he told her to get dressed. After dressing, Xiang Tang coldly threatened to make him pay for marrying another woman. He helplessly handed her a coat, repeating that he was already married. Smoking coolly, she revealed she'd investigated him and claimed he only married Tuchi because she was pregnant. He cut her off, asking sharply how long she planned to stay in Jiangning. She calmly replied she had 2 reasons to find him and to meet a business partner named Lin Xuefu. Hearing that, he sighed in relief that she wasn't after his wife, then admitted he knew that partner. He suggested the 3 of them have dinner since little Guogua must be hungry. She stood up, teasing that had become quite the responsible dad. Suddenly she leaned close, startling him into a wary reaction. Stroking his cheek, she mocked that he could resist her but not another woman. Just then, Guogua called out, saying she was hungry. Seeing the 2 so close, the girl blushed and looked away in misunderstanding. Wang Han snapped, pushing Xiang Tang aside and urging to go eat. He changed clothes, ignored her, and took Guigui out for dinner. Watching them leave, Xiang Tang smirked confidently, vowing he'd be hers eventually. The scene shifted to a luxury restaurant where the 3 prepared to dine. The staff welcomed them politely. Xiang Tang sweetly told Guogui to eat freely, and the girl replied politely. Unhappy at being called aunt, she corrected it to godmother, which Guogui happily accepted. When asked about the VIP room, Kwang Duong proudly confirmed it. Kwang Duong teased Wang Han, saying she was already a godmother while he wasn't a godfather yet, making him snap because a kid was present. Elsewhere, Tan Loi and Sualak entered a restaurant, chatting about work. Sualak carefully pulled a chair for Tan Loi and reported that Lin Xingyun might be behind the project theft. Tan Loi confirmed the project was under Suajai's control, while Sualak bitterly accused her of favoritism. Dissatisfied, Tan Loi ordered to ruin Suajai's reputation in the media to reclaim the project. Sualak praised his ruthless plan just as Wang Han passed by their dining area. Tan Loi eyed him suspiciously, recognizing the face as a former rival. Then he suddenly remembered Wang Han was Suajai's husband and shouted in shock while Sualak rushed off to investigate. He hid near the door, quietly observing the restaurant's atmosphere. Kwang Duong lovingly fed little Guogui, who happily thanked her. No one noticed Sualak spying outside, grinning slyly at the coming drama. Night fell after dinner. The group left the restaurant. Kwang Duong chatted with Guogui, who cheerfully agreed to dine again next time. Meanwhile, in front of Wang Han's house, Suaji waited for a long time, puzzled that no one was home. Suddenly, the elevator opened. Wang Han appeared with his daughter, reminding her to do homework. Hearing his voice, Suaji turned and called his name, making him freeze nervously. Kwang Duong arrogantly introduced herself as Wang Han's woman, provoking Suaji. He quickly lied that Kwang Duong was just a distant relative visiting for work, but Suaji didn't care, coldly walking past them as if nothing mattered. Unexpectedly, Wang Han grabbed her hand from behind. With slight awkwardness, he asked her to stay for dinner before leaving. Sensing tension, Kwang Duong mischievously asked why a married couple didn't live together. Furious, Suaji agreed to stay for dinner and demanded the door be opened. Wang Han hurried to fetch the key. His face paled, fearing the two women might clash like war gods. He quickly changed the subject by cooking and sending his daughter upstairs to study. Kwang Duong sat down, nosily asking when he learned to cook. Hearing that, Suaji realized his previous words were true and also wanted to eat his food. Wang Han politely refused, saying she had eaten too much already. Kwang Duong pouted childishly, claiming she was still hungry. He shivered at her act and told her to behave seriously. Suaji brought her a glass of water, sarcastically saying, "Eat more, drink more." Kwang Duong fired back, mocking her age and looks. Then she playfully whined for food again, making Wang Han instinctively reply it was almost ready. Soon, he served noodles for her. Suaji also joined the table, smiling as she sat down. Kwang Duong exaggerated her craving to tease him, but he ignored it and told her to be quiet. Suaji praised the noodles and asked for vinegar, saying her pregnancy cravings demanded sour food. While eating, she teased him to make another portion for Kwang Duong. He reluctantly agreed. He warned that if Kwang Duong didn't eat, he'd deal with her. She flattered him, claiming she'd eat a share too. Guogui came over, proudly saying her homework was done and asked to read. Kwang Duong waved her over, offering to read the story herself and calling herself mom. The girl happily handed her the book but still called her aunt, refusing to change. She bribed her with candy to say mom, but the child hesitated. Suaji couldn't stand it and told Kwang Duong not to pressure the kid. She tapped the table, calling the girl over with authority. She demanded the child call her mom. The girl froze, unsure whom to obey. Wang Han walked over, secretly signaling his daughter. The girl reluctantly said mom, making Suaji happy as she led her to the room. Before leaving, she mocked Kwang Duong, telling her to take her time eating. Wang Han also told her to eat, and she nodded grudgingly. Later, he lit a cigarette to rest. Kwang Duong asked why he hadn't gone to bed. He said he'd sleep on the sofa and give her another room. She was surprised, asking why a married couple wouldn't share a bed. Wang Han gently urged her to eat and rest early. While smoking, Suaji called. He immediately answered and left. Kwang Duong fumed, angry that he obeyed others too easily. The story shifted to the next morning. Wang Han was training, doing handstand push-ups. Suaji woke up. He greeted her and said breakfast was ready. She frowned and refused, saying she was busy with work. Wang Han offered to drive her, but she harshly declined. He then offered to pick her up after work but got rejected again. He forced a smile, realizing she was still mad. Suaji drove off and got a shocking call. She'd been framed, and her project was suspended. Panicking, she was told to check the newly sent news link. The media showed photos accusing her of intruding into Wang Han's family. Suaji raged, losing control over the slander. Kwang Duong teased Wang Han about his wife's scandal, annoying him. She handed him the phone, insisting the rumor was real. After seeing it, Wang Han cursed furiously at the smear. He immediately called Wen Long for help handling it. The scene cut to a luxury hotel. A woman approached Suo Lak as he lounged with his phone. He smugly said big chaos was coming and felt great. Then he forced her onto the bed to celebrate victory. Suddenly, the door burst open, making him shout angrily. Wen Long entered with his men behind him. Suo Lak turned pale in terror upon recognizing him. Wen Long coldly ordered him to get dressed, someone wanted to see him. The man snapped, yelling about being bossed around. Then Wen Long brought Wang Han in to face Suo Lak. Suo Lak froze when Wang Han appeared. He sneered, asking why Wang Han was here. He continued arrogantly, taunting him with attitude. Without a word, Wang Han grabbed a vase nearby, then smashed it straight onto Suo Lak's head without hesitation. His face twisted in pain as he screamed and cursed. Wang Han followed up with a merciless slap. The man's eyes rolled, nearly fainting from the hit. Wang Han seized his collar and yanked him close. He dragged him forward, demanding why he attacked Suo Ji only to get sassed back. Wang Han exploded, cursing him for his cruelty, then punched him hard in the face again. At that moment, Suo Ji knelt and begged Wen Long to switch sides for double pay. Wen Long instantly kicked her in the face for her insolence. The man turned to Wang Han for orders and was told to erase the news and clear her name. Wen Long pulled Suo Ji up, commanding immediate action without delay. But she arrogantly suggested teaming up to bring down Wang Han instead. Wen Long snapped and beat her furiously for talking nonsense. Terrified, she begged for mercy, promising to stop the rumors and post corrections. Wen Long nodded in satisfaction, scolding her for not obeying sooner. The scene shifted to Shanghua Company headquarters. The secretary reported the ransom for deleting the news was 80 million, shocking Suo Ji. Her grandfather suddenly burst in, scolding her for disgracing the family. Exhausted and anxious, she couldn't explain herself. Another person accused her of being the third wheel and called in Director Liu. Furious, she denied it and insisted she was framed, but her grandfather didn't believe her. Her uncle offered to bury the scandal in exchange for company control. The older uncle immediately criticized her, saying her success was just luck. Suo Ji stood firm, declaring she wouldn't give up and trusted the truth. The sound of a cane hitting the floor echoed like a warning bell. Her grandfather warned she was too naive and ordered her to hand over her position. Just then, a knock sounded from outside. Suo Ji hurried to greet the visitor cheerfully. It was Director Liu. Her uncle quickly tarnished her image before Director Liu, forcing her to apologize and promise to fix things. The grandfather, still distrustful, demanded she hand over the project since there were no funds. She replied she'd borrow money to manage it. Director Liu said nothing, quietly handing her a file and informing her all negative news had been removed. She was stunned. It had all been handled unbelievably fast. The two men were also shocked, clueless who was backing her. Her grandfather suddenly shifted tone to blame her, but Director Liu firmly announced the project stayed with her because her superior was pursuing her. He was speechless, tried to explain, but Director Liu coldly cut him off and left. Suo Ji called after her in confusion, trying to stop her for answers.